Hello everybody, it is Nicole from iiKiui and welcome to another review video. So today we are going to be reviewing the Winsor & Newton watercolor markers that come in a 12 pack. So let's go ahead and get started. So they come in a nice metal tin with the Winsor & Newton logo on the front. The tin was a little bit difficult to open in my opinion, but maybe it's just me struggling to open metal tins. And inside are all 12 markers that are in the traditional Winsor & Newton barrel. They are two-sided, one side is a fine point and the other side is a brush tip. So I purchased this set for $35.63 on the Consumer Crafts website, which I'll link down below. When I looked at other websites, they were more expensive and I think the average price was around $59.99. Even on the Winsor & Newton website, that was the listed price for this 12 pack. So here you see me swatching the colors, and the first swatch that I do is just with the marker by itself without adding any water to it because I just wanted a true color swatch. And then the second one that I did down below was a gradient that I used with water, so I just use the marker at the top and then add water and blend it out and see how well it blended. I would say that these blended out pretty well. I wouldn't say the swatches are the true definition of what they could be since this is on a very limited scale. I think if I had a longer piece of paper, maybe I could make a more true gradient, but since it is smaller, it is a little bit more difficult to show the true nature of this marker. But I will say that the one that had the most trouble for blending out was the light blue. But regardless, all of these are very pigmented and very vibrant, and they have a pretty good range of color. I think they cover the entire rainbow instead of just having like 5 yellows and throw in some blues or something. So when I first saw these online, I thought that they would be similar to the Winsor & Newton markers, but just be water soluble or just be able to blend with water. However, I found out that's not really the case. They are in the same barrel type as the markers, but I believe there's just paint stored inside. So when I use them, you can definitely tell that it's paint instead of just a regular like marker ink. I hope that makes sense. It's a little difficult to explain without actually using it, but it's not like regular water brush pens where they're a little bit more dry and then you add water to it. This one is definitely pigmented and wet when you use it, but when you add water it does turn into a watercolor. But I suppose it's kind of just like a really opaque paint stored into the marker. So basically the grip feels like a marker, but the paint feels like a heavy application of watercolor. So if you were to just rub your brush into watercolor and not dilute it with water, that kind of is what it feels like. So when I started using it, at first I thought it wouldn't blend because it was such a heavy application of watercolor, but when you add water and just continue to add color and blend it out, it really blends pretty well. Like I said, the marker itself is very opaque, so once your watercolor piece dries and you want to add details with the same color, you can and not worry about bleeding. But if you use it when it's wet, then it will bleed. So for this drawing, as you can see, it is a guy because I am trying to practice drawing guys, and he's in a very typical pose, but that's just one step of practicing. I mainly use the colors black, red, and dark blue for this drawing, and I use the light brown for the skin. A little bit of this paint really goes a long way. For this drawing, I mainly just started with the shadows and then worked my way to the lighter ones. Because all the paint is stored in the marker, I started with the dark spots and then worked my way up. Usually with watercolor, you want to start with the lightest and then work to the darkest because you can't take it away. But since this is stored in a marker, I had to do the opposite. And anywhere I wanted to make it darker, I basically did the shadows, I washed it out, made sure to spread the color everywhere I needed it to, and after it dried, or even a little bit before it dried, I would add in the marker again and blend it out just to add that dark gradient to the shadowed parts. Overall, I really enjoyed this set. I was expecting the Winsor & Newton set to be high quality because it is such a brand name and usually is pretty expensive in the art world. But this product definitely exceeded my expectations and I really liked it and I hope to use it more in the future. Again, if you guys are interested, I'll leave a link down below to where you can purchase it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and enjoyed the fact that I drew a guy and look forward to many more in the future. So with that, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. Keep drawing, keep painting, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!